Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome back to the second episode of the Attack on Geek show. Welcome. Unfortunately, as you can see this week, we're only half the team this week. Beloved Diana has had an extremely busy week, and she would have told you all about it today. But I guess you'll just have to check out her social channels once she puts it up. What a busy week. We got lots to talk about. We've actually taken on some of the feedback and suggestions that we got last week. And I've made some a little bit of improvements here and there, which hopefully you guys will see. But I hope you're all doing splendid. And everybody's sleep schedule has finally recovered after all of those morning ridiculous wake-ups. For those in Australia anyway. New Zealand, I feel like maybe had it a little bit better. Australia was getting up at 3 in the morning, whereas New Zealand were at least getting up at 5 in the morning, 7 in the morning. So, yeah, we've finally recovered. But let's jump into what we were going to be talking about anyway. First up, I think what we would usually be doing is talking about what we've been playing or working on this week. Since it's just me, I'll tell you all that I've been getting up to. This week I've actually been getting back into No Man's Sky. I don't know if it's Starfield that has prompted me to get back into No Man's Sky, but I've started a new save. They just did a new update as well, visual update. I've jumped back into that and started playing that, and it's just a super nice chill game where there's just no pressure to do anything unless you're like me, and the very first planet that I was on was a fire death planet, and as soon as I landed, it was like, your shields are depleting. This is way too hot. And it's like, well, okay then, I better start trying to resolve that. And then the second planet I get to is freezing cold. So my little spaceman is struggling. Of course, I've been playing lots of Borderlands. I finally have completed my end game build, where I can one-shot nearly every boss in the game. I'm either one or two shotting, or at least we're doing very well against all of the content in the game. I just beat the final boss that they released, Hemovorous. I think it's Hemovorous, the Invincible, the giant Varkid boss, which is really difficult. I've only beaten him on Mayhem 6 though, so I still need to try and beat him on Mayhem 11, but we're getting there. And also, as I mentioned last week, I'd be jumping in and playing Yakuza Like a Dragon, which has just come to Xbox Game Pass, and we'll be playing a bit of that after the show as well today. So I think let's jump into our first segment. What's happened this week? Let's get into the video gaming news. Here we go. Fingers crossed that this transition works. Hey, there we go. So right off the bat, some of you guys might have seen this already. I don't know if you know, EB Games have a couple of sales going on every so often, and April 1st. They actually released some very special merch, which I was very pleased to get my hands on. And it's finally arrived, so we're going to show you this on the stream. I managed to acquire the EB Games sales shirt. Hold on, let me take off my hoodie. This goes all the way around. So next time you want to go to EB Games, yeah, we picked up. I didn't pick up the hat. I'm not a huge fan of the bucket hats, but I do regret not picking up the sales bucket hat to complete my look. But oh well, here we are. But we got the shirt, and it fits quite nicely. So we picked that up. So that's been one of the highlights of my week so far. Next up, no doubt you guys would have all seen, we have the PlayStation controller launch. The red and black version of the controllers have launched. The black controller looks absolutely gorgeous. I do not understand why PlayStation didn't release a black PS5 and we got stuck with a white one. I think that is the first time. Yeah, that is the first time that the initial console launch has been in any other color than black. Aside from obviously PlayStation 1 originally came out in grey, PlayStation 2 black, and then all the multicolors followed afterwards. PlayStation 3 black, or well, PlayStation 3 technically was a gloss black when it first launched with the 60 gigs, and then they eventually released a matte black. PlayStation 4 black, and then yeah, PlayStation 5 for some reason they I don't know why they've mixed it up, but either way, the black controller looks absolutely gorgeous. The red controller I'm not a huge fan of, but it looks nice. But very excited to see, because if they're releasing the black controller, surely that means the black console is on the way. I mean, would they release it Christmas this year? I mean, they need to get more PS5s on the market. I mean, that's the thing right now, that nobody can get a PS5, and that they're just being scalped through the roof. Do not support your local scalper. Try and hold out. I know there was a big, interestingly, there was a big scandal that came out this week with one of the Sydney JB Hi-Fi stores, where apparently or allegedly, someone who was in the warehouse, whenever the PS5 stock would come in, they would set aside all of this PS5 stock, forgetting the pre-order list and calling up their scalper friend, and then their scalper friend would sell them for $1,300 on a Facebook group. Now, bearing in mind, obviously, PS5s are like, what, $750? So they're making quite a bit of money there. And, I mean, it's not hard to stop scalpers. You literally just limit how many they can buy in a certain month period. Like, as far as... I've worked at JB Hi-Fi's. I know that the pre-order system, you can see someone's pre-order history and what they've bought. It's not hard to nip that in the bud, and the same goes for every other company as well. The scalping stuff, just monitor someone's purchase history. No, nobody needs more than one PS5 every 3 months, or even every month. But yeah, it's a bit ridiculous. Speaking of controllers, the Xbox team relaunched the Xbox Lab controller design space, Xbox Design Lab. So you now can create your own Xbox Series controller. A bunch of different color options. You can customize nearly everything on the controller, and I'm pretty sure... I should have got my old one out. Diana and I, we made a special commemorative E3 2018, I think is when we went, controller, and it had a real nice white faceplate with the date, had our gamer tag on it, and then we can customize the buttons, the triggers, and it was really, really nice. So we've jumped into the Designs Lab, and we quickly whipped up an Attack on Geek controller. Oh no, is this going to load? There we go. That's the one that we've got. I'm not a huge fan of the purple. I wish the purple could be a little bit darker. But I mean that's on. I think that's on brand. I think that's on brand for us. The controllers are pretty steep in terms of pricing. I remember I had to get my one shipped because they only were doing it in America and England at the time, and I had to have mine shipped from to England, and my nan signed for it and pick it up, and then my nan shipped it from England all the way to New Zealand. And that's how we got a hold of our controllers. I think we paid maybe like 120 New Zealand bucks for it. But yeah, we'll probably be working on one of those, and we'll let you guys know if we do decide to go ahead with one, and we'll show it off when we do get it. And I guess the last bit of news that happened this week is, I don't know if you guys have seen the Amazon animated show Invincible, but after watching season 1, which is absolutely fantastic show, I highly recommend everybody watch it. If you liked The Boys, then you're going to love Invincible. It's only 8 episodes long, and basically you can tell at the end of the first episode, if you're not interested in it after the end of the first episode, then yeah, it's probably not it for you. It's not one of those shows that ramp up. End of the first episode, you will definitely know whether you like it or not. And absolutely amazing. Anyway, I binge read the comics. There's 100 and whoops, I've totally read my things out of order. There we go. There's the Invincible comic episode 1. There's actually 144 issues, and I just binged all the way through the series. Absolutely fantastic book. And the creator of the show has come out and said, oh yeah, I could easily make 7 seasons of the show. And yeah, he's completely right. I'm really excited for Invincible season 2 just to see what they are, what they're going to bring in next. And had it in the accidentally wrong order. We also launched last week the Xbox show, brought to you by us, Attack on Geek and Dash Gamer. We did our basically the Xbox Bethesda wrap up. That is currently up on our VODs on YouTube, I believe. Yes, we have it up on YouTube. Head on over to youtube.com/attackongeek and you can check out the entire first episode. We basically just went through the entirety of the Xbox Bethesda show, spoke about everything that happened, and what our top picks were for the show. I think that's the news for the week. That's all we've been up to. It's been obviously recovering from E3, sleep, and getting back into work. I think that's been the biggest thing for us. Is just trying to recover. There's so much going on, and obviously if you're keeping an eye on the socials, you'll know that there is a lot of work going on behind the scenes. It's absolutely madness. But let's talk about E3. E3 was... it was fine. I mean, it's the E3 after the next-gen consoles have launched. So usually the biggest E3s ever to come out are the E3s leading up to the next-gen console launch. And usually it's the E3 after, because after, the consoles have come out, it's usually been 8 months, nearly a year since the consoles have come out. And this is where the developers can finally go, all right, we've had a long time to work on these consoles, because obviously developers have access to PS5s and Series X's before they launch, because obviously they've got to develop the games. They've had at least a year to work on the games, and now they can be like, right, here's the big guns, here's what's coming out. And I felt like we really didn't get that this year. This year's E3, I think it was more a case of the indie games really stole the show, for me personally anyway. And the services that Xbox were offering. I've actually taken my top 4 picks from the E3 show, and so we're gonna quickly go through some of those. Let's see if this works. Going over to the trailers. Whoops! There we go. Alrighty. So this is my first pick. I don't know if you guys saw this trailer. This is from the Devolver Digital event. A game called Death's Door. It's absolutely freaking adorable. I'll let the trailer speak for itself. Let's run this clip. Absolutely freaking adorable. I just love those little skips and hops. Like, what are they up to? Little burbs and their secret society. So we'll get to see some gameplay in a second, and there are a lot of titles this game reminds me of, and that's why I am super pumped to play this. Alright, let's go. Gameplay time. Giant bosses, gotta love those. Anything where you're a tiny little character and you have to fight giant bosses, I love those games. Boom. Death's Door. Absolutely freaking adorable. Coming out to everything next month. No, not next month. This month. And obviously, from the trailer, you can see it reminds me a lot of like Hyper Light Drifter. Is the game that it reminds me of the most. And there's the Titan Souls. I don't know if you guys remember Titan Souls. Beautiful, beautiful game. So it's coming out July 20th, next month. Sorry. I said pretty cool. I'm very excited for this game. Hyper Light Drifter, Titan Souls, even Hades reminds me a lot of Hades. Speaking of which, it's coming out next month in August on Xbox Game Pass. Check that out. We'll be talking about that no doubt closer to the release. But Death's Door, definitely my top pick from the Devolver show. Let's see. Next up, we have got one from the Gearbox show, which they actually revealed. I think, was it at the Summer Games Fest? Super pumped for this. You guys already know. Love me some Borderlands. And we've got...
Fate.
Oh.
It soars on the wind. It rises from the grave. It stalks the ocean floor. You cannot hide from fate. But you can make your own.
Cannot wait. Give me more Borderlands. And what I wasn't expecting, star-studded cast. Unfortunately, though, no release date. Oh. Yeah, let's go.
Roll for initiative, suckers!
Cannot wait to play this. So they say early next year. So I'm thinking, like, what? Early next year gives us from February to April. Usually big games like this drop. So we had Doom, Animal Crossing, which both dropped in March. We had Final Fantasy VII Remake drop in April. So there's got to be one of those two. Very, very, very excited for this game. They've have announced that there's going to be a mix of classes, which in the obviously the original Borderlands series, you pick a class, one of 4 classes generally, and each of those classes has 3 or 4, depending on the new game or not. But usually it's 3 skill trees that you can choose from, and you go down like that. It was hinted in an interview that there's going to be multi-classing. There's going to be obviously guns. There's going to be spells, which will be something new in the DLC for Borderlands 2. Attack on Dragon's Keep. Your spells were grenades. So you picked up throughout the game. You picked up special grenades, and you threw the grenades, and they were usually your spells that you used. So we'll see. I'm very excited. Again, these are my top 4 picks. I'm gonna be amped for all of these. I actually can't wait. Early next year. Let's see. Next up, we've pulled something from the Nintendo Direct. Real quick. Oh, the Nintendo Direct. Super lackluster. I've put up my review or recap on attackongeek.com. You can read full recap of everything that Nintendo announced at the show, but it really felt like Nintendo held back. I don't know if it's because they're going to announce something, like do another Nintendo Direct in the next 2 months and announce all their really cool stuff. But I feel like there was only 3 worthwhile announcements the entire show. There was obviously the second to last, I can't believe this, second to last Smash Bros character, which is it Kazuma? Is that how I pronounce his name? From Tekken. Not Jin, not his dad, his brother. Is it Kazuma or Kazuya? I don't play the Tekken games too much, but so now we have a game that has Nintendo characters, fighting characters, obviously from Smash Bros. We've got Street Fighter characters. We got the King of Fighters. We've got Terry from King of Fighters, and now we've got Kazuya from Tekken. So we've got Tekken, King of Fighters, Street Fighter, all in the same game. Technically, we've got Capcom because. Not Capcom, Mega Man. He was in Avengers versus Marvel versus Capcom. But what a weird series Smash Bros is. I can't believe like all of these people coming together. So there's one final character left, which we're probably going to find out at the end of the year in a Nintendo Direct, and then it will come out at the start of the year, and then that's it. I'll be able to finish my amiibo collection. I've collected every single Smash Bros amiibo. All the variations, the majority of them are all in a storage unit back in New Zealand. And as soon as I get my own house, I'll be able to put them up on display and everything. But anyways, this was a very surprising announcement. I wanted Metroid 4, but instead I got Metroid 5. It was so weird. Metroid 4 is not even out yet. I still can't believe it. So we are getting a 2D side-scrolling Metroid, which is the sequel to the Game Boy Advance game Metroid Fusion, which came out 19 years ago. Absolutely wild. I can't believe Nintendo have done this. Hey, Metroid 4 is still coming, but here's Metroid 5. And Metroid 5 is releasing before Metroid 4. This game, Metroid Dread, is coming out in October or November this year. As I said, sequel to Fusion. In Fusion, you are hunted down by an evil clone Samus. But in this game, clearly you're being hunted down by evil robots. And so it carries across the theme of horror and dread that you had in the Fusion game. Metroid Fusion, I'd highly recommend playing if you can get your hands on a copy. There's one notorious boss that is just super difficult and a pain in the ass to play against. Aside from that, absolutely awesome game. And obviously, as you saw during the gameplay as well, it's clearly based off the Samus Return engine, which was the... There we go. October. Which is the 3DS game that came out... Whoops. Don't spoil. The 3DS game that came out a couple of years back, which is... So it's called Samus Returns, and it's the HD remake or remaster of Metroid 2, which came out on the Game Boy. Oh, super confusing timeline. But, yeah, Metroid Dread. I was not expecting that. I don't know about everybody else. Definitely was not expecting Metroid Dread. And finally, let's talk about my biggest highlight. Xbox Game Pass. Come on, you cannot talk about E3 without just talking about Xbox Game Pass. What an awesome lineup on Xbox Game Pass today. all of the Yakuzas, all of the Bethesdas. And this time, see, I thought ahead, I took on your feedback. This time we even got the frickin' pricing. You can pick up Xbox Game Pass Ultimate, which includes Xbox Game Pass for consoles, Xbox Game Pass for PC, EA Play, which is their library of games, and your Xbox Gold subscription for $15.95 a month. Whoa! What a deal. If you just want it on either PC or the consoles, it's $10.95. There we go. We got the pricing. We did it. Professional streamers right here. It's so, like, I can't believe a service like this exists. If you'd have told me this, you know, like 10 years ago, hey, Netflix but for video games. All of these, day one. You do not have to buy games anymore. Let's go. There we go. Xbox Game Pass. Need I say more? Absolutely freaking crazy value for money. I'm very excited. We've got all the indie games. There's No Man's Sky, which I mentioned I've been playing today. That's on Xbox Game Pass. There's Yakuza Like a Dragon, which is what we'll be playing after the show today. You've got obviously all the Xbox exclusives. You've got the Halo Infinite, Forza Horizon 5, all dropping day one. You got all the previous exclusives as well. Halo Master Chief Collection, Sea of Thieves, all of the other Forzas, all of the other Forza Horizons. Oh, also, if you're like, yeah, Tom, you know, I hear you. It seems like pretty good value for money, but $15 seems way too expensive. Well, if you sign up for Xbox Game Pass and you've not used it before, you can get your first 3 months of Xbox Game Pass for $1. Like, literally just try it out. Not sponsored, by the way. Not sponsored. Xbox, if you're listening, though, feel free to, you know, send us some more Game Pass, and we'll continue talking about that. But there we go. That is my highlights for E3 this week. You only get to hear one side of the equation this week. I'm sure we'll check in with Diana. Yep, we know the prices. We listened. We got your feedback. But yeah, what was everybody else's favorite things from E3? Be sure to let us know. If you're watching this on YouTube, don't forget to subscribe and let us know in the comments what your favorite thing from E3 was. I think that's it. Unfortunately, only half of the cast are here this week. So we're half of the show, I guess. But what a crazy week. And there's so many games coming out. I don't know if you guys have looked at the releases that are coming out over the next couple of months. June, July, and August are stacked for indie games. All your indie game fans out there, next couple of months are freaking awesome. Death's Door, I can't wait to play that. If you are interested in learning more about Death's Door, I highly, highly recommend, if you're not doing so already, following us on socials. We've got some things coming out. It's going to be awesome. But I think that's it for the Attack on Geek show this week. I hope you all had a lovely good one. A lovely weekend so far. We will be back next week with the Xbox show, talking about all the latest and greatest Xbox news that have happened in the past 2 weeks. If you didn't know, we will alternate shows. We got the Attack on Geek show this week, Xbox show next week, and we'll flip between the two. Attack on Geek show, as you guys already know, comes through for all of your latest pop culture and gaming news. Your Xbox show, you come just for all things Xbox. Whoa, what a show. This is my first one by myself. Anyways, Those of you watching on the stream, don't go anywhere. We are going to be right back with some Yakuza Like a Dragon, which we spoke about today. Everybody else, thank you so much for listening. Thank you so much for tuning in. We'll see you guys on the next show. Stay safe. See you guys shortly.